What is up, guys? My name's Yidris, and it is Friday. It is the final day of the week for me to be putting up the 4-color general decks that I've been making just based off of first impressions and not really looking too close into the new commander cards, mostly just looking at the 4-color legendaries, and the first ideas that pop into mind. Today's card is Yidris, something Maelstrom, blue, black, red, green for 5/4 Ogre Wizard. Trample. Whenever Yidris deals combat damage to a player, as you cast spells from your hand this turn, they gain Cascade. And that is something that's kind of ridiculous. When you look at that, you just go, oh my god, that's so good. But something that I feel after building this deck and playing with it a little bit, trying to come up with some things, is it almost feels like it's just a good stuff deck. It could be just the way that I built it. So I'm not saying it's the only way it can possibly be done. But as I was building the deck, I kind of got a little discouraged with it, because it was kind of just like I just put stuff in it because it's the colors and because it's good, But we'll go and take a look, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But Yidris, super excited about it. Cascade does not. You don't see something with Cascade too often. It doesn't appear that often anymore, because I think Wizards did it, and then they did it all, most of it now. They did the first bit of it in the Shards of Alara block, and I feel like when Cascade hit, it just kind of, you played it or you lost to it. I wasn't playing Standard at the time. I wasn't even really playing Magic much at the time. When Shards hit, I didn't have a lot of friends. I lost contact with the ones I did play, because that was right after I graduated from high school, and so I kind of just went and didn't pay close attention to it. So I took a break there, Lorwyn, Shards of Alara, that area. Took a break because I didn't have a lot of friends that lived close that I played with. So I don't know how well Cascade went. That's just what I think happened, because Bloodbraid Elf got the ban in Modern pretty hard. Of course, that's Modern, but I mean, they must have banned it because it was a really good creature, and it cascades into other things. I'm gonna stop talking out my ass because I'm only guessing. I don't know how broken Cascade was. That's just looking at it going, oh, I bet that was pretty bad. So Yidris makes all your stuff have Cascade if he dealt combat damage to a player on that same turn. Seems stupid good, seems broken. Let's get into the deck. To start out, being all sorted out, we've got the cheap blue cards. It's Magus of the Future. 2 blue, 2/3. You can play with the top card of your library, and you can play that top card of your library if you want. I start off with the first card, and I already got to explain. I have multiple cards in the deck that play with the top card of the library revealed, so you can kind of, if you have the Yidris effect for the turn, you can kind of look to see what you have coming up, so that you don't cast something that costs 8 and then you cascade into something that costs 3. That kind of affects your decision, because if you're just cascading on a guess, hoping to get something good, and then you flop, well, you're disappointed, obviously. But if you can see the top card of the deck and you know what you're going to cascade into, if it's going to be a cheap removal spell, you just might not play something that turn, or you might go and try to play something a little cheaper, so that maybe instead of dumping all your mana into one card, you get 2 cards for the turn, or maybe you just don't want to waste the big card right now on something cheap. So that's why Magus of the Future is in here, and similar cards that let you have the top card of your library revealed. Next is Wonder. I know it's got to be in the graveyard and all, but it gives all your creatures flying. Well, with Yidris, that seems like it could be pretty good to make him fly over the opponent's battlefield and trigger his ability more often. Mulldrifter, your standard blue, draw 2 cards. Consecrated Sphinx, 6 for 4/6 flying. When an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. So good. It just fills the hand, and when you're going to be playing a bunch of stuff to cascade off of, it just gives you more options to play things instead of drawing a land on your turn and going, well, that changes nothing. You get more cards, obviously. More cards is good. Sphinx of Bethune, 7 for 5/6 flying. Comes into play. You factor fiction, which is take the top 5 cards of your deck, give it an opponent. They separate into 2 piles. You put one in your hand and the other pile in the graveyard. Phyrexian Ingester, 7 for 3/3 imprint. You exile a non-token creature, and then it gets +X+Y, where X is the exiled creature's power and Y is its toughness. It's just spot removal. You know, it powers up based on what you took out, but it's mostly just spot removal. Dictator Crewfix is for draw. Future Sight, again, Magus of the Future. Tamiyo, because I love me some Tamiyo. I should be getting some of the Bant Tamiyos for like Atraxa and stuff, but that's not what we're talking about right now. I just like Tamiyo a lot. You can draw cards with her, or you can tap out their things that might be in Yidris' way. And then we got the islands. This deck is going to have 3 of each basic because I plan on fetching frequently. I feel you want to ramp, so you can use, you know, Yidris to cast bigger spells every turn. On the black, we have Grim Haruspex. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you draw a card. Necrotal destroys a non-black. It's got terror on it when it comes into play. And Death Touch? No, First Strike. He has First Strike. Death Touch would be ridiculous and appropriate. Puppeteer Click. 3/2 flying. When it comes into play, you can get a creature out of the opponent's graveyard and play under your control, and it has haste at the end of the turn removed from the game with Persist. Puppeteer Click. Like it a lot. Guildleaf Winnower, something that I just kind of put in because it has Menace that affects Yidris in no way, but it has Menace, so you can get through. And obviously you're doing combat damage with Yidris, so obviously all your damage is focused on getting around the opponent. So it felt like it fit there. Plus, it can destroy a creature, a non-elf creature, whose power and toughness aren't equal. Bloodgift Demon, it's a Phyrexian Arena on a 5/4 flying demon. Machaeus the Unhallowed. Whenever a human deals damage to you, destroy it. Other non-human creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Undying. You can do so many combos with this guy. I don't remember. I don't think there are any in here. I don't quite remember, but he's really good. The case is awesome. There's a reason he's $20. Harvester of Souls. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you may draw a card. And then 6 for 5/5 Death Touch. It's always nice. Grave Titan, 6 for 6/6 Death Touch. When it comes into play or attacks, you get 2/2 zombies. Sepulchral, I don't know. Black Primordial, there we go. 7 for 5/4 Intimidate, comes into play. You can take a creature out of each opponent's graveyard and put it in play under your control. The more players, the more ridiculous it gets. Shieldred, beginning of your upkeep, you get a creature back from the grave. Beginning of their upkeep, they have to put a creature from play into grave. It's great. Phyrexian Arena, a black draw staple. I think if you play black, you play Phyrexian Arena. It's especially nice since they reprinted it in Commander, and they also reprinted it in Conspiracy 2. So it's nice to have these, and they're not $10 a piece anymore. I think they're 2 or 3 now because they got reprinted a couple times in the last year or two. Got our 3 basic swamps. We go into red. We got Kikijiki Mirror Breaker because Kikijiki is amazing. Make a copy of a non-legendary token, second it into turn. Anger, if he's in the grave and you have a mountain, creatures you control have haste. Shaman of the Great Hunt, 4 for 4/2 haste is okay. Whenever creature you control deals combat damage to your player, put a +1 counter on it. I mostly put him in here for the Ferocious, 4 mana draw card for each creature you control with power 4 greater. He's mostly just there for draw. Urabrask gives yourself haste. Creatures the opponent's controlling the battlefield tapped. He's mostly here for the haste. Dragon Mage deals combat damage to a player. Each player discards his or her hand and draws 7 cards. I like Dragon Mage a lot. 7 for 5/5 flying is pretty fair. And of course, it's printed back in Scourge. That's when 7 for 5/5 is quite a deal. And then you can deals combat damage. You dump your hand and get new hand. Unfortunately, so does the opponent, and that's one of those things you kind of just look at and go, well, you know what? Oh well, you got extra hand too. Red Achroma, because we can't have white. 8 for 6/6, can't be countered. Flying, trample, protection from white and from blue, and then fire breathing. You can morpher, but I don't know anybody who really ever does unless they don't have anything else to do for the first, their first, third, or fourth turn. That sounded awkward. I said that wrong. You know what I'm saying. Chaos Warp, nice removal. The owner of a permanent shuffles it into their library, then they can cast off the top for free. And then we got a 3 mountains. Eternal Witness, take a card back from the grave. Pelucranos, fight something. I love Pelucranos. I have like 8 of these. That's how much I love them. Rampaging Baloths, landfall, you get a 4/4 beast, and then 6 for 6/6 trample is fair too. Can't complain about that. Soul of the Harvest. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. We're playing a lot of creatures since we're doing a lot of combat damage here, so it seems appropriate. Avengers Zendikar. I'd like to put this guy in just about every green EDH deck I have. Because why not? He just feels like he belongs in all the decks. When it comes into play, you get a 0/1 planet for each land you have in play. Landfall, all your planets get +1/+1 counter. And so, yeah, I mean, he's great whether you have a lot of lands or a little bit. When you play him, you get tokens, and then for every land you get after that, he continues to benefit you. I love him. Grux Horde, another card that lets you look at the top. Well, you play with the top card, you don't look at it, but you play with the top card of the deck, so the opponent knows what it is too, and you can cast creatures off the top. Critterhoof Behemoth, because, again, it's a green card I think every deck should have if you're playing green. 8 for 5/5 haste when it comes into play. Creatures you control get trampled +X, where X is the number of creatures you control. Really good. +X. So, not X and O or... Yeah, yeah. Woodfall Prime is 8 for a 6/6 trample is pretty good. When it comes into play, you destroy a non-creature permanent. That's great. That's value. It's green removal, and then it persists, so it's even better. If you happen to find a way to put a +1 counter on it, great. You know. Beast Within, I love this spot removal. I'm glad they reprinted it in Conspiracy 2. 3 to instant destroy target permanent. This control gets 3/3 Beast. 3/3 Beast is fine if you're destroying any permanent at all, like a Planeswalker. Hell yeah, you can have a little Beast token. Then we got the ramp part of the deck. We have Kodama's Reach, Cultivate, Ranger's Path, Explosive Vegetation, and this is Expedition. They all go for 2 lands. The only thing that's different in there that I do want to point out, Ranger's Path gets 2 forests, not basic forests. So you could take like the shock lands or the original duels if you wanted to. We have here the 3 forests of the deck, and then we go into Multicolor. Glint Eye Nephilim. I thought about him for a while, and I'm not so sure he's going to stay. I do like how when he deals combat damage to a player, you draw that many cards, not, deals combat damage, draw 8 cards. So you can use his ability to discard a card and then give him +1/+1, do it 3 times. When I hit for 5, you draw 5 cards. So you do get all your, whatever you put into it back if it hits the opponent. But, yeah, even with that, I'm not sure if he's going to stay because I like him. But he just doesn't, it doesn't really feel like a good card in this situation. I don't know, maybe it's just me. We have Edric. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one or more, or one of your opponents, its controller may draw a card. Perfect, since we keep trying to do combat damage over and over again. We have Trigon Predator, same deal, but when he deals combat damage, you disenchant, naturalize. It's awesome. Olivia Volderin. I like Olivia a lot. 4 for 3/3 flying is okay. For 1 in red, she deals 1 damage to target creature. Another target creature, can't do herself. That creature becomes a vampire in addition to its other types, and put a +1/+1 counter on Olivia. I like it a lot because at the end of the opponent's turn, you can just shock one of your things for 1. That damage goes away at the end of turn, but she gets a permanent counter. That's really cool. Then for 5, if you hit one of their creatures, one of the opponent's creatures, you can pay 5 to gain control of it for as long as you have Olivia. Olivia is one of my favorite creatures, one of my favorite legends out there. Early on, when I got into EDH, I built a deck of her. It wasn't very good because I made a vampire tribal, and I don't feel you can make any deck that's like dedicated tribal and it's working. I've never been able to do it, and I've tried vampires, trees, elves. Elves probably not the best choice, but I tried it. I tried a bunch of different tribal decks, and none of them ever seemed to work, so I don't know about that, but... Intet the Dreamer, another favorite legend of mine. 3 blue, red, green for 6/6 flying. When he deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2 and a blue. If you do, you exile the top card of your deck face down, and then you can cast it for as long as you have Intet on the battlefield. It is a free cast, so that's always nice to get something big off of it. Intet is just fun for me. Segu Mauler, 6 for 6/6 trample, hexproof, and then you can morph him if you want, but that doesn't happen too often in EDH. But 6/6 trample, hexproof is awesome. Thraxamundar, 7 for a 6/6 haste. This is kind of where you start to see that it feels just like a good stuff deck. It's just, I just put in creatures because there isn't much of a theme other than have stuff that you cast, and combat damage. So I just kind of put stuff in there. I thought about, some things. I did read some comments. People were saying like, give him double strike or double the damage. Double the damage is fine because then it's double the damage. You're at least gaining on that. But if you give him double strike, you're just doing 5 twice, and it's not like you get you know, like the first spell you cast this turn now is Cascade, and then you do it again and it gives it another Cascade charge. It's you only have to hit with them once. So I don't know why they're giving them double strike aside from just more general damage. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I was talking about. It's kind of just a 4-color good stuff deck. 7 for 6/6 haste. When it attacks, defending player sacks a creature. Whenever a player sacks a creature, you may put a +1 counter on Thraximunder. I like him a lot. I really always wanted to build a deck out of him. I just never got around to doing it. Seamus Caswaller, 7 for 6/6 flying trample shroud. Pretty straightforward. Maelstrom Wanderer, 5 blue-red-green for 7/5. Creatures you control have haste and cascade. So you get 2 cascades off him. If Yidris hit, you get 3 cascades off him. That seems like it'd be hilarious. We have Terminate, good spot removal, Dreadbore, spot removal, Unlicensed Disintegration, Putrefy, Wrecking Ball. They're all spot removal. Domri is mostly in here because you can look at the top card, so this is part of that. But then also the -2, you fight something. Xenagos is here for mana. Sure, you can get 2/2 satyrs if you need them, but he's mostly here for the +1 on him to add X, where X is the number of creatures you control. Hopefully you have some creatures when you play Xenagos, otherwise you're only getting some satyrs. Then I suppose if you get up to 6, you exile the top 7 cards of your library. You may put any number of creatures and/or lands from them onto the battlefield. Since it's such a creature-heavy deck, that is a good ability. But I mean, you don't ever count on ulting a planeswalker. It's just one of those things that you should never think is a guarantee in any way, shape, or form. Moving into the non-basic lands, we have 3 of each color pair. Of course, the Con, the Guildgate, and the Shock, because those, I feel like these being pretty recent, especially the Con's line. That was 2 years ago. The Guildgate was 4 years ago. That's fairly recent. You can still find them easily, so I've been putting them in every one of these decks because they're good dual lands and they're cheap. The Shock's not so much, but they're good. A lot of people have the Shock lands. So I got 3 of these. 3 red-green, 3 blue-red, 3 black-red, 3 blue-black, 3 green-blue. And then we go into the tri-lands. We got 4 tri-lands, because why not? It's a 4-color deck. We got to fix, And then I got 4 lands in here that can tap for any color. These 2 you have to pay 1 before you can start using them. They come into play tapped. You got to pay 1 or sacrifice them. These 2, the Mana Confluence is great. You pay a life, get 1 mana of any color. But Command Tower is obviously the best one because it's got no drawback to getting any color you want. Solemn Simulacrum goes and gets a land when he dies. You draw a card. He's mostly here just to get a land. Duplicant, more spot removal, but it can copy the creatures, power and toughness, and type if that's ever relevant to you. But it's usually power and toughness is what matters. And then he gets rid of a creature. Wurmcoil Engine is just a great creature. 6 for 6/6 Death Touch Lifelink. When it dies, you get 2 worms, 1 with Lifelink, 1 with Death Touch. They're 3/3s. Great. Wurmcoil Engine goes in just about every single deck if you have it. Same with Divining Top. Divining Top is just an amazing card because you can look at the top 3, and I feel like that's super helpful here. Along with Crystal Ball, scrying things to the bottom. I think both of these are very helpful and very important in playing Yidris because it helps you plan your cascades better. And like I said earlier, instead of cascading, playing something that costs 7, and then you cascade into a 2-drop, well, this way you can plan it more accordingly and get a 5 or a 6-drop out of it. And I feel like that's important to have those in here. So that's the whole deck. I'm going to go and shuffle this up, and I will show you what kind of draws you get out of this. I don't think we're going to get a lot of variety. I think I'm just going to do this once or twice instead of the 3 times like I did in all the other videos, because this is mostly just a good stuff deck. And so it's not like it has a combo in it to where, let's see how often we can get the combo pieces. Let's see how often the mana screws us. There are 39 lands and I believe 7 cards that go for land in the deck. So I'm going to shuffle it up for a minute, get a good shuffle since the deck was all sorted out. And yeah, I will be right back and we can do a test play. Alright, and we are back. Give this a couple more right here. So, like I was saying before I cut, it feels like a good stuff deck, and so there isn't really anything to keep an eye on when you're playing. Just try to make the most of your mana. The only thing to really try and do, I think, is get 3 lands and something that goes for land, or 4, Because unlike the other ones where, like, let me make sure I get this right, because I'm unfamiliar with them. Like Saskia, not so much. Brea, not so much. Atraxa, yeah. Well, okay, never mind. I guess I was gonna say some of the new commanders, you got to be careful what you're doing with them, because you got to, plan your turn accordingly. I think actually have the proxy for the last one right here. Yeah, I was going to say that you got to be careful with some of them and plan accordingly, but I actually don't think it really matters too much. This one's just pretty straightforward. Get them out there whenever you want. Obviously, the sooner the better, so you can do more damage and all, have more chances at combat, and they'll probably have something out by turn 3 or 4, but since you're running a 5/4 trample, you probably get through 4, 5, 6, 7. So, like the first or second time, if you get this out in turn 4, I'm pretty sure you'd be able to get through easily, at least once or twice, before they really get something up that they want to block with it or kill it. That's not a keeper right there. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, well, we're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I sat here, and I did this like at least 5 times, and I was like, oh, these hands work out just fine. This ain't no big deal. So I'm just gonna kind of go ahead and just rig it a little bit, because yeah, I don't think you guys want to sit here and watch me go for new cards over and over and over again. And also, since it's not a real game, I mean, we just do a test. It's just test plays, kind of get a little information. Then we could just go ahead and now we draw 4. And alright, see, there we go. Even if that swamp wasn't there, it's not going to be upset about it. So we'll go ahead and start with our tap land. And we got 3 basics and a confluence. Yeah, confluence, because we got to get some green in there, because now we're going to go ahead and cast Edric. Next turn, we can, let's say we drop the swamp, and then we can go blue, black, red, green to play Yidris. And if they're wide open, you could attack with Edric. It's not like it's super important to do that, but you could if you wanted to. Go to the next turn. Island. Now at this point, you start to wonder if they have something that they would block with. If they have a removal spell, you obviously wouldn't know that. But do you want to attack with Yidris or not? I think this is like the most strategy there is in the deck, other than your normal strategies you play with any deck. Do you want to attack with Yidris? Because if you do, then any one of your spells here has Cascade. But the only one that the most expensive one you can cast is Glint Eye Nephilim. So there are a lot of 3-cost things in the deck right now, but do you really need them? Or would you rather like play the Nephilim, or even maybe Domri to try to get him out a turn earlier to give him the +1 or maybe the -2 to fight something? That's kind of where you gotta. It depends on the field and what you want to do. I say we'll just for the first time, we'll say that they won't do anything because it's still early, so they probably wouldn't throw out a blocker right away. If they do, it'd probably be safe. They probably wouldn't throw out a blocker that could do a mass amount of damage on Yidris, because then that takes away probably their only threat. So we'll attack with Yidris, and then we'll go ahead on the next turn. We have to use Confluence, so we take 1 there. Use the same lands. Play the Glint Eye Nephilim. Cascade. Nope. Trigon Predator into play. That's not a bad one. And I actually forgot to draw off Edric. Oh well, too late now. Bummer, huh? So we get the Glint Eye Nephilim, Cascades into Trigon Predator. That's not bad. That's pretty good actually, I think, for right now. Go ahead and tap, upkeep, draw. Got no lands, so I guess if I remembered to draw off Edric, that would be a hell of a lot better. But live and learn, right? So I want to say that Domri might be good here. Because at this point, they probably got something in play. So you want to probably get rid of it with Unlicensed Disintegration or Domri to fight. But that's not necessarily the case. What you could do is you could swing with Glint Eye. You could use 2 of the lands to power him up, and then if he gets through, great. If not, well, you know, you tried. And draw some extra cards. Let's think that they have one good creature here to block. We could... This is where I don't like... This is where I don't really like Yidris, is with low amount of mana. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do, but let's go ahead and do like Unlicensed Disintegration. So we get rid of one of their blockers. So now let's say they have one more blocker. We attack with Yidris and Glint Eye. Now they'll probably block one of these, probably the Glint Eye, because he can draw you way more cards. Yidris will get through, and you only have the 2 mana, so they're not concerned about his ability, not too much. Not something that, you know, it's a huge issue. Later in the game will obviously be a lot better because you'll have more mana and, you know, you have more cards in hand that you can play. Not like these. I just have 2 right now, you know. But, yeah, so I'm thinking that they'll probably block Glint Eye. If you want to save him, you can. But, unfortunately, he only draws when you deal damage to a player. So, it's up to you. I would think if you're swinging with Glint Eye and they're going to block, you may want to go ahead and power them up to try to take out their creature. That way, next turn they have one less creature to block either one of them. So go ahead and do that. We'll get rid of, I guess, the Sphinx and Micaeus. Not my favorite choice, but we have removal and can get any one of them back. So I feel like that's not a bad choice. So Glint Eye stays. We take 1 off Confluence. Yidris hits, trigger Edric. We draw Harvester Souls. Okay. Their turn, they do whatever. Probably kill something, I don't know. Hard to say in a game like this, you know. Yeah. Well, we'll think about it like we took out a blocker. We used Unlicensed Disintegration. Let's swing with Yidris and just say he gets through, hypothetically, just to see the cascade. So you'd play something that costs the most. So you take 1 off Confluence, you play Urabrask. Cascade into... something Xenagos. Alright, that's pretty good, actually. I like that a lot. So, yeah, we can get more mana, because right now we can get 5 red or green. Well, we can play Eternal Witness, but we can't do Domri, because he takes 2 colors, Harvester Souls, we don't get 6, we get 5. So go ahead, plus Xenagos for green, do Eternal Witness. Let's take back Unlicensed Disintegration, because... just because we want to get through more often than we don't. Cascade into... there aren't a lot of things in here that cost less than 3, so we'll be going for a little while. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, well... most of the deck is 3 or greater, so there aren't going to be a whole lot of things you cascade into below that. There are a few, like Terminate... and the top, I can't think of any others. There aren't a lot. I know that. Actually, I think Dreadbore costs 2. Yeah, I think Dreadbore costs black red. But yeah, this is what I was talking about. It's just kind of it kind of like it looks really cool, but the way I built it as I was going, I was getting more and more discouraged because it just seemed like I was putting cards in here because they're big creatures or, you know, just stuff like that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm definitely not saying that's a bad thing. That's just the way that I felt as I was going and doing it. So we'll go ahead and do another test draw. And it's hard to test Yidris because there's a good chance if the opponent can, they would stop Yidris from dealing combat damage to them so that you don't get to cascade like crazy. 5, 6, 7. It's just one of those things that you can't really test, you know. So let's see, we got 2 lands and a top. I'll take it because there's a top. So go ahead and play the Palace. Whoop. Alright, got a land. Play the top. Draw another land. Another tap land, unfortunately, but that's okay. That's not a huge issue. Play that. Let's go ahead and activate the top for 1, 2, 3 cards. Okay, cool. We get a basic, so we'll just leave that on top, and then we'll go ahead and draw that. We can play Yidris right away. So we have our blue, black, red, green, Yidris. Okay, we go to the next turn. It's Watery Grave. We know that. Then we know what the next card is. We may actually want to pay 2 life for that, since we don't have anything that costs less than 4, and we know what the next card is. We can't cascade into it. So I kind of feel like once we get the top down, or the crystal ball, and we can start looking at the top cards, you want to try to get as many cascades as you can. That's just my thinking on it. It's not like if the top card costs too much, it's wasted a cascade. No, you keep going until you hit one that you can do, but I prefer to have a little more control over it. So we'll go ahead and top. Let's see. All right, Dictate a Crufix. There we go. Because I don't necessarily want to lose Wrecking Ball. So the Dictate a Crufix is on the top now. So we attack with Yidris. Let's say he hits. Then on the second main phase, we'll cast Wonder, because we want Wonder to go and die a horrible death in combat to give Yidris flying. Trigger the cascade, Dictate a Crufix. So I like that way better than letting Wrecking Ball go to the bottom and risking it, you know, and seeing go, I don't know what's going to come up. Okay, so we go to turn. We get to draw 2 cards. And now there are 3 brand new cards sitting on top of the deck. So I'm thinking we go and we top again. And we have Tamiyo, Unlicensed Disintegration, and a Swamp. That's tough. It almost seems to me like at this point they'd have a creature that can get in the way. So I want to say, let's do it like this. We'll do that, and then this turn we won't cast anything after. We'll just get rid of something that they have now that's in the way, because then that's one less thing we got to deal with on the next turn, you know, later on. So do that, and then you can swing with Wonder, try to get him killed. If you can't, well, whatever. You could also Wrecking Ball Wonder and hope that, you know, Yidris will get flying and it'll stay that way. They don't have any grave hate. But, yeah, go ahead and continue on like that. Gonna draw, oh look, a Tamiyo. And then, I actually did not rearrange that properly. It's supposed to, I forgot about the Dictate a Crufix. I was supposed to have that. Whoopsie, ha 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 ha. So, well, it doesn't matter. It's just one of those things. It feels like a good general, but I don't know. This is the one that I was excited for when I saw it. I mean, it's the last one that we got revealed to us, but I felt like this one was the most exciting and interesting. I could be wrong, but I'm actually not that interested in it anymore. What I think I'm going to end up doing is building... I definitely like Atraxa, mostly because I like the color combination. I like Atraxa, and Bray is okay. Saskia does not do a whole lot for me, and definitely not the one from yesterday, which I still don't know how to pronounce. Knaus and Tiro. Definitely not too interested in that. I think Atraxa will be the first one I go and build and, go through and do all that. Yidris, I'll probably put second or third. Gonna have to fight that spot with probably Breya. I think Breya is pretty fun and interesting. She deals with artifacts, you know, but yeah, it's just one of those things. And I really want to give props to Wizards of the Coast for the way that they did this, and they know we've wanted 4-color generals for a while, and so we finally get it, because everybody who wanted the 4 colors before, they've been using the Nephilims. Like, I got a stand-in right now for Atraxa, because I put the Atraxa proxy on the back of the Breya one. I just used scrap cardboard. If you guys hadn't seen those videos, it's just a random chunk of cardboard I had. But yeah, Breya, when she comes into play, create 2 1/1 blue Thopters with flying, and then she sacrifices 2 artifacts. You do 3 to a player, -4/-4 to a creature, or you gain 5 life. That's alright, you know. Obviously, you want to generate a lot of artifacts, which isn't hard to do, especially right now since we have Kaladesh available to us. Lots of artifacts sitting around. Then we have here Atraxa proliferates every single turn. I like that a lot. I want to build the deck mostly because I like the color combo, but Flying Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink, and you proliferate at the beginning of your end step. Seems really cool. So there's those. Saskia does multiple combat damage and combat phases and combat damages. That's the idea of the deck I built there. It's just going to be, you know, like 2, 3, 4 combat phases with double or quadruple damage. Yidris, you just saw on the back of Yidris. That's where I wrote it. On the back of Yidris, we have Knaus and Tiro. This one originally I was thinking group hug. If you guys hadn't seen that video from yesterday, group hug. But then I thought red Bant Blink. That one, it didn't really work out much. What I am doing is landfall in this deck, and that one seems pretty cool actually because it helps you play more lands a turn, helps you draw. So I like it. It's interesting. But yeah, let's flip that back over to Yidris. Yidris is just not that interesting to me. Maybe I didn't build the deck right. Maybe it's just I just kind of did whatever. But yeah, it definitely feels like a good stuff kind of general, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, cascade like crazy. So that's the 5 decks for the week. If you enjoyed watching them, well, I thank you. I'm happy to hear that people were enjoying them. I got a lot of comments on it, and yeah. Hope you enjoyed. I plan on doing follow-up videos for all 5 of these in about a month. Once, you know, they've been out for a little while and people have gone and played with them. I've played with them, and none of these decks had the other new cards out of Commander 2016, so I'll be picking those up too, because I didn't want to do too many proxies. I proxied these obviously because they're not out, so what choice did I have? But I didn't want to have a bunch of notes, random note paper in the middle of a deck, you know, so I didn't want to go and do that. But once I get those cards as well, obviously they'll change some things in here. And yeah, if you guys want to see the follow-up videos on those, subscribe to the channel. You get that notification whenever I put up those videos. And thank you guys for watching. I will see you all in the next video.